Hey guys, today we'll be covering a 2020 miniseries called Cast: The Golden Age of Insiders 2022. The movie revolves around the friendship of a group of youngsters who go through an emotional journey after they start to work at an amusement park. At the beginning of the series, we see Yoo Kyung in a job interview. Yoo Kyung was an average student in high school, but now she aspires to be independent and start a new life. She applies for a job at Niniland, an amusement park. Although Yoo Kyung is nervous at the interview, she performs well and shares her desire to be a social butterfly. After reaching home from her interview, Yoo Kyung recalls her unremarkable high school experience. No boyfriend, mediocre looks, average personality, and no clear concept of her future aspirations. Therefore, she desperately wants to work at Niniland for a better life. While Yoo Kyung is lost in her own thoughts, she receives a message that she has been recruited. Anticipating her life to change, Yoo Kyung is excited about her new job. In the following scene, Yoo Kyung goes to Niniland, where Yunjin, the leader, receives her and takes her to the employee's residence. The two chat for a bit, and Yunjin encourages Yoo Kyung to focus on her work and do well. On the way to the employee's residence, Yoo Kyung is startled by the training officer, Dong Jun, one of Niniland's top workers, sporting a monkey head mask. Dong Jun tries to start up a conversation, but Yunjin intervenes and takes Yoo Kyung to the house. After introducing Yoo Kyung to her room, Yunjin leaves. However, she immediately dislikes the place as it is disorganized and messy. Just then, she notices Yejin, a friend from high school, and is taken aback. Turns out that Yejin has been newly recruited too, and the two will be roommates. Although Yoo Kyung graciously greets Yejin, the latter is rude and uninterested in becoming friends. This disappoints Yoo Kyung. Just then, Soo Min, their senior roommate, interrupts them and starts briefing her about the place. As the girls go along, Soo Min informs them about the training, orientation, and work environment at Niniland. Additionally, she advises them to perform well in the orientation in order to be assigned to the park department of their choice. After Soo Min leaves the room, Yoo Kyung and Yejin stare at each other in awkward silence. The following day during training, Yoo Kyung and Yejin sit next to each other, and Jo Hee-chul, another recruit, joins them. The cast training officer Dong Jun, who has a cheerful demeanor and positive outlook on life, instructs them to treat the visitors with respect and to always smile while working. At the training, Yoo Kyung and Yejin unite for a brief moment and work together to finish the assignments. That moment of solidarity reminds Yejin of her high school days with Yoo Kyung. 3 days later, Yoo Kyung is assigned to the attraction department, where she must check tickets, look after visitors, clean up spills, greet the customers, and ensure their safety. While Yoo Kyung shares her first day experience with Soo Min, she also expresses her fondness for Dong Jun, who is always cheerful, active, and funny. Furthermore, he's famous in social media for his charming personality. In the meantime, Yejin enters the room and reveals that despite wanting to be in the attraction department, she is assigned to the green department. However, she is happy with her job, which includes cleaning, along with taking guest pictures, directing visitors, and giving treats to upset children. On being asked, Soo Min tells the girls that she works in the greeting department, where she checks the entry tickets and welcomes and greets the guests at the main entrance. One morning, Dong Jun meets Yoo Kyung in the hallway and asks her if she and Yejin have issues. As the two are talking, Hee-chul arrives and interrupts them. Fascinated by his cool uniform, Yoo Kyung asks Hee-chul about his department and finds out that he works in the parking lot. Hearing this, Dong Jun suggests he use a face mask. In the next scene, a man argues with Hee-chul as he wants to drive through the path designated for the disabled. Hee-chul tries his best to make the man understand, but when the latter starts threatening him, he has no choice but to let him go. Back at the attraction site, Yoo Kyung stops a young girl who is too short to board the flume ride. The child's father, who turns out to be the same unruly man from before, quarrels with Yoo Kyung and threatens to criticize her online. Being a new employee, Yoo Kyung is intimidated and unable to control the eccentric guest. Just then, Dong Jun arrives and tries to deal with the man. He apologizes on Yoo Kyung's behalf, pointing out her inexperience as a new recruit. When the man still doesn't calm down, Dong Jun even gets down on his knees. He explains that they are only following safety regulations and cannot risk their customer's life. However, the man keeps chattering and leaves a terrible impression on the other customers. Even after hearing Dong Jun, the uncooperative visitor insists on meeting the boss rather than abiding by the rules. As a result of the conflict between her father and the staff, the child appears sad and disappointed. Amidst the chaos, Yoo Kyung offers the child a rain check and instructs her to bring it next time once she is tall and qualified to ride. Surprisingly, the young girl agrees after receiving candy from Yoo Kyung. She also agrees to board a different ride. However, the father still complains about it, which enrages the other customers in the line. In no time, his video is uploaded on social media, where it becomes viral. People start belittling him for his childish behavior and also call him a loser. On the other hand, Yoo Kyung is praised for handling the child well. The viral video soon attracts more people, and they are hired as employees. All of them look up to Yu Kyung and think she is cool. This makes Yu Kyung feel overwhelmed. As she browses the positive online reviews of her, she comes across an old video from her high school days when she slapped Yoo Jin. Meanwhile, while working, Kang Jae-hyun, a high school friend of Yoo Jin's, confronts her. Since she wants to move on from the past, she asks Jae-hyun to leave her side and enjoy his time in the park. In the meantime, Dong-jun and Yoo Jin arrive looking for Yu Kyung. Turns out that Yu Kyung has run away after her old video again resurfaced. Hearing this, Yoo Jin is shocked. In the next scene, Soo-min finds Yu Kyung sitting on a bench alone and scolds her. After Yu Kyung apologizes, Soo-min asks what's bothering her. Yu Kyung then finally reveals her past dispute with Yoo Jin and admits that slapping her friend was wrong. Furthermore, she also explains her academic struggles and inability to express her feelings to her crush. She then expresses her desire to have a fresh start and become a social butterfly. Hearing all this, Soo-min comforts Yu Kyung, saying that she is already outgoing. Later that evening, Yoo Jin and Dong-jun visit the barbecue pit and see Yoo Jin and her friend Jae-hyun at the next table. Yoo Jin suspects them to be in a relationship. Meanwhile, in an effort to make things right again, Jae-hyun apologizes to Yoo Jin, but she mentions that she wants to move past the incident and forget about it. Just then, Yu Kyung and Soo-min arrive, and Yu Kyung overhears her friends talking. She approaches them and accuses Yoo Jin of publishing the video online to demean her. Yu Kyung believes that Yoo Jin is envious of her recent social media exposure and claims that since Yoo Jin failed to get assigned to the attraction area, she has plotted to belittle her. Yoo Jin, however, dismisses it as untrue and leaves. As Yu Kyung continues to argue with Jae-hyun, the server at the restaurant, Kun-ho, approaches and informs Yu Kyung that he has uploaded the footage. Someone by the name of Ban Hyung-young from Hyun-nam High School had sent him the video. When he tells Yu Kyung that she shouldn't arbitrarily throw the blame on anyone, she feels terrible and flees the scene. She then sits outside the convenience store and starts crying, feeling helpless to change for the better. Just then, Hee-chul arrives and offers his handkerchief to Yu Kyung to dry her tears. As he comforts her, he tells her how he was fond of her during the interview and asks her what she means by a social butterfly. Yu Kyung responds that it's about being intelligent, attractive, sociable, and well-liked. When Hee-chul questions if such a person exists, Yu Kyung describes Yoo Jin. Hee-chul says Yu Kyung also possesses the same qualities, but she is unable to recognize them. However, Yu Kyung disagrees and claims that she is just average and not special. As the two get along, Hee-chul explains he works in multiple places to earn money and to save to study abroad. Later that night while lying in bed, Yu Kyung curiously examines the artwork on Hee-chul's handkerchief. When she searches online, she learns that Hee-chul has won numerous prizes in illustration competitions and was a popular student who gained fame for his illustrations and has his own brand. Since Hee-chul has been kind to her, Yu Kyung decides to give him a mask and orders it online. The following day, Soo-min welcomes the guests at the entrance, but denies one entry because he is carrying food items that are not allowed in the park. Hearing this, he sits on the ground and starts eating. After finishing all the food, the man enters the park. Instinctively, Soo-min feels something bad is about to happen. After a while, Yoo Jin also spots the man and finds him strange. Meanwhile, the man excitedly gets on a ride, but soon becomes nauseous from all the food he has consumed. In the next scene, Yoo Jin's mother pays her a visit because she hasn't received any calls. As usual, Yoo Jin avoids her mother and asks her to leave, but the latter tries getting close to her. Yoo Jin starts walking away, but unknowingly trespasses in an unauthorized area near the ride. As soon as the ride stops, the nauseous man unboards and unintentionally throws up all over Yoo Jin. Later that evening, Yu Kyung runs into Hee-chul and asks him why he's working at the amusement park and the convenience store despite all his accomplishments. Hee-chul responds saying that he needs a lot of money to fulfill his dreams of studying abroad. Before departing, Yu Kyung gives him the mask, which makes him smile. After a while, Yu Kyung meets Jae-hyun, who apologizes for his earlier mistakes. According to Yu Kyung, the conflict between her and Yoo Jin may have been the result of her desperate desire to stand out and to become an anchor of the media club in school. She recalls having a crush on Jae-hyun, but was unable to express it. However, Yu Kyung realizes that Jae-hyun adores Yoo Jin. A flashback then reveals that Yu Kyung became edgy after Yoo Jin abruptly left the anchor position one day. Since Yu Kyung had an inferiority complex, she accused Yoo Jin of not wanting to compete with an average girl like her. Enraged, Yoo Jin told Yu Kyung that she wasn't good enough to compete, so Yu Kyung slapped her. Back in the present, Yoo Jin arrives arguing with her mother. Seeing them, Yu Kyung and Jae-hyun immediately hide behind a tree. Since Yoo Jin's mother's new husband has a wonderful job and a company that can take care of them completely, Yoo Jin's mother asks her to quit her job and go abroad with her and her husband. However, Yoo Jin declines to accompany her. She explains that she is happy at Niniland and she doesn't want to give up her aspirations for her mother. Additionally, she scolds her mother for compelling her to leave the media club in high school. Saying this much, Yejin requests her mother to leave and stop bothering her. After hearing all this, Jae-hyun and Yoo-kyung feel bad for misjudging Yejin. The following morning, Yejin looks upset as she sees a safety policy retraining notice posted on the wall. Her co-workers are concerned about her and prepare to assist her since they fear that she will lose her job for defying the rules and entering a prohibited location during the ride. Later, Yejin asks Yoo-kyung to act sensible and save her friendship with Yejin. Furthermore, Yoonjin reveals that she joined Nini to attract attention and win people over. As she continued to put out more effort, she developed a result-driven attitude that made her selfish and lonely. However, she is now aware of the value of true friendship. Initially, Yoonjin wanted to resolve the conflict between Yoo-kyung and Yejin for a remark on a review, but now she literally wants the girls to be back together. Back at the parking lot, Hee-chul remembers Yoo-kyung and wears the mask gifted by her. Elsewhere, to help Yejin from losing her job, her friends devise a plan to record a video of Yejin helping them out in fake, difficult situations. While filming the video, a lady misunderstands and accuses Jae-hyun and Kun-ho of taking her video without permission. This leads to a dispute between them, and Yejin attempts to break up the conflict. In the meantime, two children who are playing in the background enter a storeroom without permission. When Yoo-kyung notices them, she pursues them. As she looks for the kids inside the storeroom, they startle her and she falls to the ground after losing her balance. She collapses after a few storage containers fall on her. After regaining her consciousness, she finds herself locked inside. Yoo-kyung cries for help, but she is forced to stay inside because it is nighttime and no one is outside. Elsewhere, as Yoo-kyung has been missing for the past 8 hours, all of her friends are looking for her. Yejin is astonished when she discovers a torch, juice, and a selfie stick inside her bag while searching for Yoo-kyung. In the storage room, Yoo-kyung checks her phone, which is dead. Suddenly, she notices a flash of light coming from her door. When she realizes someone's outside, she calls for assistance. Yejin is outside the door and is relieved to find Yoo-kyung. With help on its way, the two decide to talk about their past. In the next scene, Yoo-kyung apologizes for being cruel to Yejin in school, claiming that she was unaware of her circumstances. She then offers to help Yejin keep her job. Following this, Yejin discusses how she avoided her parents' house due to their constant fights. Yejin reveals that because her mother was having an affair with the school's advisor, she was forced to give up her scholarship and membership in the media club. She also explains that she has always wanted to graduate and live independently of her parents. Just then, the other friends arrive with the guard and open the door. Yoo-kyung is relieved that she and her best friend, Yejin, are finally on good terms. The next morning, Hee-chul comes looking for Yoo-kyung and finds she's in a hospital due to a concussion. He also discovers that she'll return soon and quit the job. After returning from the hospital, Yoo-kyung visits Hee-chul. As she's leaving Niniland, Hee-chul tells Yoo-kyung that he'll miss her. He asks whether she fulfilled her goal being a social butterfly. Yoo-kyung replies that she now realizes that each person has a unique story and background, and that chasing something that is not meant to be yours is foolish. Hearing this from Yoo-kyung, Chul is even more fond of her and claims he loves her for who she is. After this, Yoo-kyung walks to the barbecue point to bid Kung-ho goodbye and tells him that she learned to stop comparing herself to other people. Since he thinks Yoo-kyung is an ideal candidate to manage Niniland's review page, Kung-ho asks her not to leave. However, she declined. In the last scene, before Yoo-kyung leaves Niniland, her former co-workers and friends bid her farewell and take a group selfie.